What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Locker Room Rant. I'm your host, John V. To my right is my co-host, Nick. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Not much. Week 7's under the books. It's in the books right now. Tell you what, this is an open league right now. There are no dominant teams. People who I think might be coming up, not necessarily so dominant. It's week to week now. It's week to week. We're going to see in the next couple weeks which teams decide to pull away, which teams decide that they don't want to be here anymore.
Go on, say that again.
I said right now it's open. Right now it's an open field for whoever wants to be in the playoffs come January. The teams the next couple of weeks are going to be big for which teams actually decide they want to be in it, because right now it is open field.
Hey, cool, Nick. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Nick? Yeah, so you guys did win 6 straight, and I think you guys out of any team are going to be one of those teams. I think the Chiefs are definitely going to be there at the end of the year. That being said, it still doesn't look great, and I think Taylor's carrying you guys. I think T Swift's carrying you guys.
I see Kelsey's production is up when she's there,
mm-hmm.
And then it's half of that when. And it's half of that. His production is half of that when she's not.
Yeah, she was there yesterday. 100 yards at halftime, like 170 yards total for the game. T Swift's the MVP of the season.
Totally. Can you imagine? If her whole plan is to build him up and just bring him down in the postseason?
Oh shit! So. Want to get into it, John? By the way, NBA's just starting today. I'm actually got the game up over here. It's Lakers Nuggets.
I know. That's why I want to get on with the show so I can watch some ball.
Yep. I don't know. Is there any other game on right now? Is there any other game on today?
No, I mean, and I want to see the Lakers game. So, I mean, I wasn't paying attention to anything else. All right. So let's dive into it, dude. Let's get the Niners out of the way, and then we'll talk about the Browns, and then we'll talk about the rest of the Week 8 matchups. Dude, I'm at the point now where I just can't handle this second loss. It's out of control.
This one brought you over the edge.
Really out of control, man.
This one put you over the edge.
Yeah,
I didn't see this happening. I didn't see the 49ers losing the Vikings.
I'm like, it's this DC, bro. It's Wilkes. I'm not really doing good with this dude. I'm not doing good. Like, I don't like him up in the booth. That pisses me off. Get your ass out of the fucking booth. Get on the sideline and coach your players from the sideline. That's what they're used to. They're not used to this absent DC, who's all the way up there, fucking off. Get down on the sideline and coach to your players' strengths. I
don't think him getting on the sidelines really solving much. I do think that there's kind of like
players. Listen to what your players are seeing.
Listen
to your captain. Listen to what he's saying. It's to me, ignoring your players and riding it out up high on the booth, bro. That's bitch shit. Get your ass out of there and do your job from the sideline.
But there's a lot of coordinators that coach from the booth.
Not my problem. In San Francisco, we bring our asses to the fucking sideline. That's what we've done. We've been successful from there. Running away and hiding in the booth because you're a secondary specialist is some fucking bullshit, because the secondary sucks. They just gave up 400 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So get the fuck out of that. Get the fuck out of the booth and get on the sideline and start listening to your players and start making adjustments on the fly on the field.
So that's you kind of touched on what I'm saying. So I don't think I've talked about it much on the show. I might have touched on it periodically, but I really didn't dive too deep with it. I wasn't a fan of the Wilks hire for the 49ers. And I told John, me and John don't just talk sports on the show. We talk sports pretty much all the time. I had a suspicion that Wilks was going to be Joe Woods-ish. And everything is coming to proving me right.
He's night and day better than
No,
Woods.
He's not. They were both secondary-oriented coaches. They're both secondary-oriented coaches.
Have a sour experience, and you now found a way to correlate it with everything else. It's moot, bro.
No, he is very Joe Woods-ish. I'll give you the perfect example. One of the problems I had with Joe Woods, and listen, Joe Woods actually had some good defenses with Cleveland. Like the first year he was there when we went to the playoffs, his defense was rated pretty high. But I never liked the defense, even when it was rated high, because like you had in the game against the Chiefs, you had the opportunity for a guy like Chad Henne to rush for a first down, when that would never have happened under a Jim Schwartz defense, because it's a bend but don't break type defense. It gives up. It opens up to give a lot of yardage on first downs, where second down and third down aren't as problematic. Where when you get a Jim Schwartz type defense, you're probably not going to gain much yardage on first down. And now you have second and long and third and long, and you can go 3 and out. And that's how this 49ers defense was in the previous years under D'Amico, under Saleh. It was hard to move the ball on them. It's not hard to move the ball on the Niners now. You guys give up chunk yardage on first downs now. Second and third down become a lot more manageable.
Teams are converting on third down at an extraordinary rate.
Because when it's second and third, or second and when it's third and 2 or third and 3 or second and 5, it becomes more manageable.
Dude, it was like third and 15. It was third and 10. They convert, bro.
They did convert a lot of third downs against the Vikings. I'm talking more like in just the whole season as a whole.
Yeah, but I'm saying that these glaring holes in the defense only reared their ugly head recently in Cleveland and definitely in Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota was probably the worst defensive showing. I don't even know in how long.
Probably from the 49ers in a long time.
Time.
Because even some of the seasons, even that year that you guys had all those injuries, I think your defense was still pretty good.
Oh, what like 2020 when we had like $90 million on IR?
Yeah, but I think your defense was still pretty good. I don't think your defense was bad. I think your defense was still like the top 5.
The defense has always been whatever Wilks did, these blitzes, listening to Bosa, listening to Bosa after the game said a lot about how he basically sees and feels about Wilks, in my opinion. He's not thrilled with the amount of blitz that we're dialing up. We're dialing it up we're dialing it up a lot.
Like you guys have a big problem stopping screen passes. Like it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, let's see. The defense wasn't getting off the field, bro. So everything they defended looked like dog shit. I mean, literally. They were spent, dude. There were so many things that went wrong in Cleveland, but at least against a reputable defense, it didn't expose us, but it wasn't this bad. Like that's a 2-4, that's a 2-5 Vikings team that we lost to.
Yeah.
Addison had well over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah. You look like Jefferson out there.
And who's the other dude?
I can't even remember his name.
I keep wanting to say Osborne, but I feel like that's not his name.
Well, Osborne is their other starter at receiver. Osborne's their other starter, but there is another guy. I can't even remember his name. I think his last name starts with a B. You can look it up real quick. But yeah, he was even cutting you guys up pretty good.
We looked so slow. Let's say hello to some people in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
good to see you, family. Steve, I see you, fam. Joel, man,
John, move closer to the mic.
What's up, Joel? What's up, Joel? Good to see you, bro. David McNiner, good to see you, bro. Wilkes ain't the guy, McNiner says. I don't know, David. Like during the Dallas matchup, I didn't even see anything. I didn't miss anything. Like I thought I didn't even know that Wilkes would have been. If you told me that was a new DC during the Dallas matchup, I wouldn't have believed you.
They still didn't play Niner football though. They still didn't play how the Niners defense played even in that game. And that's a game they did very well. They had a lot of turnovers, which is fantastic if you get them, but you can't count on those every game. The guy was Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell caught 4 for 64. And then TJ Hawkinson had 11 for 86.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he was dicing us up. But I mean, you know what though? If you give Cousins time to sit there and drop back, pressured, but not getting home. I mean, I listen, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand how you can let Kirk Cousins, whom is a statue nonetheless, drop back 40 times unscathed. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like what are we doing? Why are we going away from this defense that was established that had made a name for itself? Now we look like frauds out there. We look like shells of ourselves on defense. It got to the point where a team as shitty as Minnesota, we were supposed to, you know how I feel about winning the games that you're supposed to win? That was one of those games that we were supposed to win and we ate shit instead. You know, now we go up against a great Bengals team, right? We're going up against a great Bengals team.
I don't think they're a great Bengals team. You really should beat them, and I really need you guys to beat them.
Should have beat Minnesota.
I am a 49ers fan this week. Like, I really want you guys to beat the Bengals. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't. Everyone keeps saying they're playing better. They're really not. They're not playing better. Their defense is playing a little better, but they're really not playing any better. Joe Burrow's not playing like that great still. Like, you guys need to beat them.
What's up, Caniac? Good to see you, fam.
What's going on, JT?
JT, I see you over there, bro.
Kirk's a weird one.
Cousins was beating the blitz and pass rush with some really impressive throws. I was surprised. I'm not even the least bit surprised. I've always known that he was capable of doing it. You know, the guy had almost 5,000 yards passing last season and with one receiver. You know, like, dude, I've always thought that Cousins was underrated.
See, I think in some points he's underrated and in some points he's overrated. I think a lot of times he might be overrated. There's a lot of people that consider Kirk Cousins like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And there's a lot of people that consider want Kirk Cousins to be their quarterback. I think the 49ers are one of them now. I think because but I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer to anyone's problems. Like, he's a good quarterback.
He can make the throws that you need him to make.
Sure. But he's also
he can
perennially mid. He's also on perennially mid teams with a lot of talent. So, I mean,
I get to think about how we got here, bro. We should have hit that field goal in Cleveland, been up 6-0. Should have won this game versus Minnesota in Minnesota. Should be 7-0.
I don't know if you should have won this game.
Should be 7-0.
I don't know. First of all, if you won the game in Cleveland, if Moody made that field goal, the worst team would have won.
We were driving down the field, bro.
Worst team on that day would have won.
If Brock runs that in, if he runs for the first down rather than trying to throw on the run and getting picked, like I'm telling you, we should have won this game. We should have won this game.
Like this game, the better team won. The Vikings were the better team yesterday. No doubt about it. They were the better team yesterday.
Yes, but when it all boils down to it, San Francisco was driving. We were driving. If
That's
we
true.
score on that drive, it's game.
That's true.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, we are not the San Francisco 49ers of week 1, week 2 through week 5. We have now just I don't know, bro. I'm kind of salty. I feel like Wilkes is really fucking with the philosophy in San Francisco. Big time. I mean, big time.
Like I told you, I was a person who was not a fan of the hire. I think you want to know what I think you guys should have went in the D'Amico mold. I don't know why you guys didn't promote somebody. I don't know why you guys didn't. If you guys were going to go outside of the organization, I don't know why you guys didn't get some young guy who's going to be on the sidelines, like you said. I don't think that Wilkes needs to come to the sidelines, but
Wilkes is auditioning for a coaching position. Where better than to go to San Francisco? You've already got the team. You've already got the defense. They're going to make you look good if you put him in the right fucking positions.
Yeah, but are they?
Get him out of this bullshit. Get him out of these blitz packages, bro. This is not what we do here.
But the thing is, they're not, even with the blitzes, they're not producing much pressure.
Like, that's what I'm saying. This is not what we are used to.
Like, this is undeniably.
Bosa said it. This isn't the kind of defense. Basically, in so many words, he said this isn't what he's used to, or he hasn't really adapted to this yet. What he's trying to say is, I don't fucking like it.
Like, this is undeniably the most talent you guys have had at defense. And it's not, and I'm not even talking about, like, there's not, like, you guys got Javon Hargrave. You guys paid $20 million a year for Javon Hargrave. Like, that guy is a stud.
Javon's gotten his sacks. He's done. He's contributed.
I don't know how many sacks he has, actually.
He has 2 or 3. In I don't know, maybe a couple and a half. Nonetheless, I mean, Hargrave was the one making noise. It wasn't until recent when Bosa started getting some sacks.
Like,
Hargrave was working.
Like, no team's gonna have the same exact team they have coming into the year. I think you guys are better in terms of talent-wise this year than you were last year.
Nah, we lost a lot of depth.
I think
a lot of rotational talent.
Like, rotational talent, but like, you also got
rotational.
Okay.
What do you mean? Okay, I mean Ebukam, Omenekwu,
Jimmy Ward,
Key, Willis, Jimmy Ward, K'Wan Williams.
I mean, those guys shouldn't make your team worse. Losing those guys shouldn't make your team worse. You guys should be able to fill them.
No. We were insulated with depth. We were insulated with depth at these positions.
Sure. That's why they shouldn't. That's why you should. It shouldn't be a crazy thing that you guys lose those guys. You guys are going to lose some people.
We're not generating the pressure that we should with this front.
I mean, you guys just got Randy Gregory, who's probably as good as Ebukam or Omenekwu. You got, in terms of talent wise, I don't know. I mean,
Omenekwu was huge for us. He was huge for us.
Jimmy Ward.
I don't know. Is he even off suspension yet?
Who?
In Kansas City. Omenekwu was suspended for the first 4 or 6 weeks, I thought.
I have no clue. I don't know where Omenekwu's at. So, but Jimmy Ward, I mean, Jimmy Ward has been a 49er staple for however many years, but I mean, he was relegated to playing the slot corner. I mean, he wasn't even your guys' safety last year. And he wasn't necessarily a great slot corner. So losing him wasn't a big deal.
Who?
Jimmy Ward.
Jimmy Ward was playing in the slot wonderfully. He was actually building his portfolio, so to speak, at that position. He wasn't
safety. There was a
They're asking him to play the slot.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues that people were talking a lot of shit on Jimmy Ward last year.
Jimmy Ward was playing in the slot very well.
He wasn't like a difference maker though. He wasn't like a great slot corner is what I'm telling you.
Dude, he was a difference maker. I'm going to tell you that right now. Jimmy Ward was a difference maker. They just knew they weren't going to pay him. Tayshaun Gibson was awesome. Okay, extremely cheap and affordable. Now you have Hufanga in his third year, all pro. Like you didn't really need Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward didn't want to be paid as a corner.
Exactly. He didn't want to get played as a slot corner. He wanted to get paid as a safety. But if you look at the additions that you guys had this year, your guys' defense should be better.
He was a big loss.
If you look at the additions you guys had this year, your team should be better. Javon Hargrave is as good of any defensive tackle in the league. I mean, I realize you guys just picked him up, but Randy Gregory is just as good as Ebukam or Emenahue.
Nick, I've told you this at length many times. I've told you this team, it had an identity, and it was also very well known for depth at every position. And we were very well insulated at those positions. We were very well insulated. And when we were moving guys around and rotating fresh legs, that pass rush was fresh last year. Boom, boom, boom. It was firing. Yeah, Omenekwu was a huge.
There's no reason why you guys shouldn't have that still, though.
We don't have the fucking players anymore. What is the matter with you, bro?
You guys you have other pieces though. You have other
pieces. Yeah, we have other pieces. Yeah, we have other pieces.
Like Drake Jackson in the second year. Drake Jackson should have easily transitioned over to being able to fill the spots of Emenahue and Ebukam. He's an
whatever. I'm telling you right now, whatever Wilkes is doing right now, he's not helping Drake Jackson's. He's not helping him develop. I need Wilkes to get his fucking ass out of the booth and get his ass on the sideline and start listening to your players and start coaching from the field and make your goddamn adjustments right now on the fly. Boom, boom, boom. This sitting up high, it's pissing me off, bro. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Get your ass down here and coach from the field like everybody else. I'm just something's not right. Wilkes should have been able to come into San Francisco with this defense. And it was on autopilot, bro. You just manage it. You just micromanage it. You don't have to do much.
Didn't you guys get Cleveland Ferrell this year?
Yeah. And Cleveland Ferrell isn't doing shit. Nobody was doing shit.
That guy is a guy who has talent. Did you guys have Kevin Gibbons the whole time?
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, so I'm not gonna talk on him. Let's see. I don't know who Marlon Davidson is. Alex Barrett, Austin Bryan, anything of these guys? Or they just
Austin Bryan and Cleveland Ferrell played ball together in school.
Because you guys should. What about Robert? You guys were talking about Robert Beal. Where the hell's that guy been?
Robert Beal, I don't even think he's on the roster.
I'm looking at the roster right now. I don't know if it's old, but
I haven't heard or seen Robert Beal.
You guys were really excited about that guy in the draft. You guys got Kerry Hyder, don't you?
Nope. We cut Kerry Hyder to bring Randy Gregory in.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys were always big on that guy.
We released him or whatever. I mean, look, at this point, that's right. What's up, Ansel? I see you, man. Beal's on IR. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Look, we don't have the depth that we had last year. We did. We were deeper on the defensive line. We had bodies. And the secondary was solid too. We had K1 Williams. We had Jimmy Ward. We don't have this anymore. And not for nothing like
that you guys drafted, that you guys were like up in arms about getting.
Womack?
No, the safety from Penn State.
Oh. Brown.
Yeah. Where's that guy been?
I don't know, dude. I really don't know. But look, I feel like we have the bodies on this roster. I feel like everything was fine until yesterday. Everything was somewhat okay. Now it's like shit's fucking off the chains right now for me. I don't know how, I haven't taken the temperature of the fan base today. But for me, I'm fucking pissed.
I watch a lot of 49ers content week in, week out.
Pissing me off.
Week in, week out, the 49ers fan base is not happy. The content creators are not happy. Like they are pissed. A lot of it's finally going to Wilkes. A lot of it's going to Purdy. Now a little bit of it's going to Jake Moody, although he did kick that 50-yarder. So a lot of people are like breathing a sigh of relief there.
The only thing about Purdy that pissed me off is that dude's game management, clock management was trash. We spent more. We gave out. We were spending timeouts like they were free. You feel me? Like they had no consequence. It must have been 4 or 5 times we had delay a game.
So let me delve into this a little deeper. So Nick just put up, you're talking about defense like they suck, but they only gave up 22 points. I'm going to delve into this really deep.
All right. Well, seven of those, cool, Nick. Let's talk about 7 of those fucking 22. Let's talk about the 7 that came before halftime with less than 30 seconds on the clock, and you call a 0 blitz, and then you create a 1-on-1 with Charvarius Ward and Addison ends up ripping the ball away from Charvarius Ward's arms. How about the irony in that shit? From the first quarter when Charvarius ripped it out of his hands for the INT, and then funny how the shoe's on the other foot walking into halftime, and we call a 0 blitz and we shit the bed. So 7 of those 22 came because of some bullshit. You don't call a 0 blitz walking into halftime. For that reason, if you beat the blitz, you got a 1-on-1 with the safety. What quarterback's not going to take that shit? It's a gimme. Mm-hmm. Oh, that pissed me off, bro. Oh my God. I mother fucked everything.
Yeah. I mean, that was a crazy play. So I'm gonna get into this a little psychological here. I have never.
Don't do this. Don't do this long.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Spiel,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
This short. Don't do this long-winded bullshit.
No, it's gonna be a little rainbow. Gonna be a little long-winded. I have never thought the 49ers, and this goes in previous years. I have never thought the 49ers offense was ever really good. It has always been some level of competent. And they're winning games, even when they had big spurts of offensive production, has always been because of their defense. Their defense ruins the will of other teams. That's how it's always been for the last 4 or 5 years. Their defense just killed the will of the other team. When you can't move the ball and you go 3 and out, and your defense has to keep coming up, eventually, even if you have a good defense, they're going to break. And that's what your guys' offenses did to other team. But it all started from the defense. Now that your guys' defense isn't really playing lights out, I still don't think it's playing terribly. They're not a terrible defense. But because they're not lights out, the colors of the 49ers offense are starting to show. They're just okay. They're just okay. I mean, I get it. They lost. They didn't have Debo this game. I get it. I understand that. Debo's a very, very, very good player. But if your
huge asset to this offense, if you haven't noticed,
I get it. But if your offense is so great, like everyone says it is, like everyone was trying to portray it to be, like since last year, and I even thought this last year, like I said, your offensive production stems from the defense. You guys should be able to go without Debo for a couple games.
I agree.
Every game that he goes out, you got
and Trent Williams. You should be able to go without all 3. You should be able to beat the Vikings with George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Ray McLeod, Ronnie Bell. If you put his ass out there, that's some bullshit, right? You've got Mason, Mitchell. You didn't even run the ball.
Yeah, Mason
You
didn't even run the ball.
Even touch. You didn't get other hands on the ball. Bro, this is bullshit.
I picked up Mason and Juszczyk. I had to pick up Juszczyk and use him in a fantasy league, but I picked up Mason as well, and both those guys, zero production. Not even touch the ball. No, neither of those guys touched the ball.
Yeah. It's bullshit. He doesn't trust them. And what bothers me so much is as a player, how does it feel knowing that your coach doesn't trust you? That would piss me the fuck off.
Demoralizing. It's probably a little demoralizing.
Like you have an injured CMC and you won't give me touches? Mm-hmm. You won't give me burn at all behind this dude?
Mm-hmm. And listen,
you're willing to fucking die on that hill.
And listen, CMC has not been that good the last 3 weeks. Even in the Cowboys game, he wasn't that good. I don't care how many touchdowns he gets. I don't care how many 1-yard touchdowns he gets or how many screen passes he catches. Is that guy a slot receiver? Is that just what he is? Because he's only getting about 3 yards a carry the last 3 weeks. He's not really being that dynamic runner that you guys say he is.
That's okay, but I want coordinators to plan for him. Like, I don't care. I don't care if he's. I know he's going to get at least. I knew that Dallas was going to hold him to at least 3.5 yards a carry. I knew that.
Dallas did, the Browns did, and the Vikings did.
Throw the fucking ball.
Well, I mean, eventually you got to produce something on the ground. And maybe they should start running Mason more. Maybe they should start running him more. Because honestly, he might be a better runner than CMC.
No.
Quit this bullshit about trying to extend streaks, touchdown streaks. God forbid, I wish I had him in my fantasy league because you're guaranteed a touchdown. But, I mean, if that's costing you games, start running Mason.
You just said that Mason can run better than CMC. You got to be high. Like, check for carbon monoxide poisoning, bro. What does it matter with you?
A runner. I think he might be a better runner than CMC. Not a better receiver, not a better overall football player, but I think he might be able to run the ball a little better, get you a little more consistent production in terms of yardage per rush.
No, because I think Mason struggles with the run scheme. I think he struggles.
Well, he's looked pretty good in the limited amount of carries that he's gotten.
This entire offense is predicated off timing. And it's tight. You got to be able to fucking excel. Otherwise, you're not going to see the field. You're not going to touch the ball. It's simple. You block. You have to block in the system. You have to make catches. You should never fumble. CMC's fumble didn't help.
Yeah, that was costly. Very costly.
He's fucking injured, and he had no business out there. Period.
No.
Mitchell, do you know how many yards Mitchell was averaging before CMC got here?
Mitchell
was averaging like 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, Mitchell was doing pretty well.
Mitchell was a top 10 running back.
Now he seems like he's stuck in the mud.
Well, I mean, he's bearing injuries. That injuries have buried him.
But yeah, you guys were running just fine with Eli Mitchell. Jeff Wilson.
Before CMC, we're averaging 6 yards a carry with him.
Yeah.
Now we have a healthy Mitchell, and he's not getting his hands on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is bullshit, dude. Like, I am so tired of the favorites. You will fucking run CMC into the ground with a torn oblique because you don't trust Mitchell or you don't trust Mason. It's all trust. And if I'm those players, I'm sorry, Kyle, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not cool with this. Like, you're telling me, what's up, TL fam?
What up, TL?
Yesterday was TL's birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday, TL. Birthday. What's that make you?
27.
27. Happy 27, TL. Looking good. No, it's just like I said, CMC is not a bad player. I never said he was a bad player. He's actually a very good player. But in terms of being able to tote the rock, he's not among maybe the top. I'll even go so far as saying top 10. He may not even be among the top 10 in pure running ability. Like, he can break one. He's quick. He's fast. He runs hard. But I don't think he has the just God-given ability that some of these running backs have.
I'm sorry. I started to actually, I think I was hemorrhaging. Like, I'm not listening to this. Are we slandering CMC again, even after the fact? You gotta be fucking high, dude. There's something wrong with you.
I just have gotten a lot of shit for the better part of a year.
Yeah, you got a lot of that in your ears. You got a lot of that shit in your ears, and it's messing with your chemicals, bro. Like, you're making no sense.
I said it wasn't a good trade, and I stand by that. I don't think they needed CMC.
That's absolutely fucking insane. Considering how much this offense produced after the fact, you're absolutely fucking high. You've lost.
A lot of shit happened. A lot of the shit other than CMC happened after the fact.
Nah, bro. CMC unlocked potential in this offense. That's the problem, though. They are so reliant on CMC that this offense, and I don't even know if they is his teammates, or if Kyle is so dependent that he doesn't feel comfortable without running CMC into the ground. And it's really starting to piss me off.
I think a lot of the production that CMC has given you guys over the past year has been production that Debo would have given you.
No.
Yes, because Debo's numbers have suffered because of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying we weren't going to run our number 2 wide receiver between the tackles, 15 times a game, bro. We're not doing that shit.
You know what? Do it. Why not? Because he's not a great receiver. Ayuk's the better receiver out of the bunch. So if he's your number 1 receiver, then just do Debo shit.
Debo's a baller. I never said he was a finesse. I never said he was a finessed route runner. I'm saying he's a baller. Like, his yards after the catch, his physical, that need to demand contact with his opponent, he fucking thrives off of that. Like, that really gets him going, bro. And that's why he'll roll you over.
Taryn, who's not good between the tackles?
CMC, I'm sure that's who's talking about. CMC, probably.
Well, we're also talking about Debo. He might be saying that Debo is not good between the tackles.
I mean, Trent Williams makes up for a great deal of difference. You understand what I'm saying? If you've watched those games enough, we could not set the outside edge. Couldn't.
Yeah, I get it. Trent Williams is great. Probably the best left tackle in football.
Minnesota should not have been running on us as easily as they did.
But Trent Williams ain't going to stop the run.
We couldn't tackle, Nick. That's got nothing to do with Trent. It's got nothing to do with an injured CMC. That's got nothing to do with an injured Debo. We could not tackle our opponent yesterday to save our soul.
Which is also very weird from a San Francisco defense that's largely held intact for the past half decade. Like, I mean, you have a bunch of the same players. You got Hufanga. You got Bosa. You got Armstead. I mean, the addition of Hargrave isn't gonna hurt your tackling. Drake Jackson's been on the team this is his second year.
Well, no, that's not true.
Yeah, one of the best tacklers I've ever seen.
Listen, there was
Greenlaw played yesterday.
Greenlaw did not look like himself. He's still struggling with a hammy, I think. I don't know, but Greenlaw does not look not even 90% right now to me. He was out there. He's a beast, but I'm telling you something. Bosa expressed his. I don't want to say I don't know. He basically said to us, I don't really like the way that we're blitzing. I don't like the amount of blitzing that we're doing. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Wilkes is definitely doing something with this defense that's creating a lot of disappointment.
So trade deadline's coming up. What do you think if you had a wish list? What would you want the 49ers to do before trade deadline?
I don't really know, because I don't really know if you go out, let's hypothetically, let's say you go out there and you get that young cornerback from Pittsburgh. Or let's say you get Brian Burns. Let's just say you spend and you get Burns. Like what good is Burns going to do on the squad right now? And what's another corner going to do if the scheme is so soft? What? We should be getting home with what we've got right now. We really shouldn't have to add anybody right now. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, I get it.
Like,
I mean, I do think you guys could
we should be implementing some of last season's defense, those schemes, D'Amico's schemes. Why haven't you adopted them, and why aren't you applying them? I don't want Wilkes' fucking fingerprints on things right now. You've already shown me that you gave up between the Cleveland defense. How we gave up what? A little over 300 to you? We gave up over 400 last night. Mm-hmm. It's 700 fucking yards back to back. 700 plus.
Yeah. You gave up about 350 to us.
Yeah. And it was, bro, we probably gave up almost 800 between the two of you back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Swear to God.
Yeah, it is. You gave about 450 to Minnesota, and you give about 350 to the Browns.
I mean, listen, this team has to go and play a very good Bengals team.
Yeah,
okay, you know what? Good to you and good to me are different, because we just got beat by the fucking Vikings. So, you know, you may not think that the Bengals are a great team. I think they're a very good ball club, and I think that they've gotten it together. I think that I think that they're getting to midseason form. You know,
I don't think they're in form. I just think they've been able to squeak out a couple victories here and there.
All right. Well, do you think San Francisco is did they look good enough last night to beat the Bengals next week?
You know,
they're coming to Cincinnati.
I think the that could be an issue, but I also don't think the Bengals home field advantage is like super great. But I think the Vikings and the Bengals are kind of similar.
Oh no, maybe it's at San Francisco.
Hopefully it's at San Francisco.
Yeah, it's at San Francisco. I lied.
But I think the Bengals and the Vikings are kind of similar teams, where they have a pretty solid aerial attack. I think Mixon's a better running back than anything the Vikings have, but their offensive line's a little shittier. And I think their defense, you know, the Bengals are a weird defensive team. Sometimes they play like they're a really good defense, and sometimes they play like absolute crap. Taylor always seems to have his defense kind of playing better than they actually are. So, but the Vikings defense looked pretty good yesterday. Like, they didn't look terrible. They were able to do stuff. So, but I mean, they could have just played really well, and the 49ers played not as good as they were capable of.
You see this comment?
So, we have the most expensive D-line in football, and
Danielle Hunter has more sacks than all of them combined.
Yeah, that's true. The 49ers have not been able to sack the quarterback this year. They've not been able to sack the quarterback, and they've not been able to. The 49ers have always been a team that's been able to dominate that 10 yards. Like, in previous years, you had to beat the 49ers. The only way you had a chance was by throwing over them, because they had bad cornerback play, which I still think they don't have good cornerback play. Charvarius Ward is average at best, and Lenore is average at best. Your starting two cornerbacks are average at best. I think you guys could really use a good cornerback. I'm not saying that's going to solve all your problems, but at least it's going to be able to keep teams' number one receiver. You'd be able to get like a second longer to get to the quarterback. I think you guys need a cornerback. That's one thing I think you guys do need really badly.
Yeah, but I mean, what are we going to go out? We're going to go out and spend a bunch of money on a corner, and then still ask that corner to spend 4.5, 5 seconds trying to chase around somebody. Like, bro,
Maybe you
it's
can get it down
fucking
to 3.
garbage.
Maybe you get it down to 3 seconds, which a second in a football play is an eternity. You know, a second during any football play is an eternity.
I could live with 3 seconds.
Yeah,
I could live with 3 seconds. But the problem is, Kirk was probably getting that ball out with time, Nick. Time, bro. There were times I thought he got rid of the ball in like 2.7, 2.8 seconds. Then there were times where I thought he was. Then there were times I thought he had the ball. I thought he had like 4.5, 5 seconds to make the throw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were some. There were some.
We're not going to go out and spend a bunch of money. Excuse me. We're not going to go out and spend a bunch of money on a corner to ask him to chase around receivers for 4.5 seconds. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, bro?
I mean, if you could buy an extra half second with in the secondary, that get a guy that can cover for 4 seconds and isn't beat in 4 seconds, maybe you might have a shot.
I understand when Wilkes got here that he wants to apply his secondary expertise. I know that he wants to. I know that he wants to take control of this defense and mold it into something that he can put his name on. The fact of the matter is, this defense will never take on your implementation. It's proven not to be successful with this set of with these guys.
Yep.
This scheme was Saleh, D'Amico, and now it's an outsider. Listen, either go back and devise, find a way to implement D'Amico's system here. Do it.
The thing about it is, I think we talked about this
back.
We talked about this earlier. I don't think it's that easy. This is the system. They've been running Wilkes' system for this entire year, off season. This is the system that they're running now. And it's just not 49er football. It's not 49er defense.
No, man, it's not.
This has gone to a defense that used to scare the ever-loving shit out of teams. And it's gone to a defense where teams are like, okay, well, if we do this, we can have a shot. And apparently this is a bunch of screen passes and just trying to get the ball out a little quicker. You could scheme for it. Like, there was no scheming for the San Francisco 49ers defense last year or the year before or the year before that. And I could even go back to like the Willis days. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not the smash mouth defense football that we know from San Francisco. This is the, all right, we're gonna apply a little bit of pressure here and there, but we're gonna lay back and run a lot of zone, and we're gonna run some blitzes here and there. And
McNiner, you're right, man. It's like he doesn't know how to use a good front seven. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
It's absolutely ridiculous, dude. Like, I can't tell you how much it makes me nauseous watching Wilkes' defense. Like, I'm just not the way that Cousins was dicing this defense up, bro.
And maybe, you know, I like I said earlier when you guys were talking about him coming down to the sideline, I don't think that's going to help Wilkes because I don't look at Wilkes. Hear Wilkes talk. I don't think him being on the sideline is going to do much. D'Amico was a former player. He's a former linebacker, a really good one. And Saleh looks like he could fucking kill a man. Those guys are players. Those guys are bros, you know. Those guys are.
Scott get in here?
There he is. Yeah, Scott, listen, there's going to be a point in time in your life when you're not going to have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
I'm not going to make excuses, but we were banged up that game. Nonetheless, they did beat us fair and square. They did.
There's going to come a point in time where you're not going to have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and you're not going to be able to do that shit all the time. All right? I don't know when that time's going to come, but there will be a time in our lifetime when that's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is Doug. On Laney's name. Doug, I'm telling you, I want Wilkes on the sideline. I feel like there's You know what? I don't know. You know what? Here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is to have I don't know what it is to have a great Niners team with a coordinator in the booth. Never been there.
But the thing about it is, like, you could see like D'Amico rile people up. You could see Sulla rile people up. I don't think Wilkes being on the sideline is going to rile anyone up. Like, I don't think it's going to have that type of effect. Maybe there was this like sense of like there was a sense of testosterone that D'Amico and Sulla could bring to the team, and you know they have proven it. D'Amico has injected.
I like Wilkes. Wilkes was a very hands-on guy. He was very hands-on with the players
seems like more
during
of a
camp.
technician.
Yeah, he's a technician.
But technician's like not what D'Amico and Sulla were.
I don't care. Adapt, evolve, get your ass down here on the sideline.
Yeah, Nick brings up a good point. Defense is about attitude. I agree. Dude should be on the sideline, getting in their face and motivating. But I don't think that's who Wilkes is. Like, that's who D'Amico was. That's who Sulla was. But I don't think that's who Wilkes is. I think he's more of a behind-the-scenes guy, technician type guy. I'm gonna build this system, and then it's gonna operate.
I'm telling you, bro. I like a disciplinarian on the sideline. You know, holding players accountable the moment they come off the field. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Like Schwartz is
you can coach. You can coach to your players' strength. You can coach to their. You can coach them. What am I trying to say, man? I'm trying to say that I prefer if Wilkes brought his ass down out of the booth onto the sideline and just coached his players in the moment, bro. In the moment.
I don't think you're getting
what I want
from that sideline. I don't think you're getting Wilkes down from that sideline. That's how he prefers to coach, and that's how he's going to do it.
Well, you know, he's sitting in the booth, and all of us 49er fans have adopted this comfort that he is in the booth because he's a specialist and a technician in the secondary. The secondary looks like fucking hot shit on a stick. Mm-hmm. So get down. Get out here and join the war. Like, it's not a chess game, it's a bar fight. Get your ass down here and start getting dirty.
What I don't get is why. I mean, I heard a lot of good things about Jair Brown. I heard, he was talented. Obviously, had a good professional career. Yeah, I get it, but like, usually when a new defensive coordinator comes in, especially, you know, Wilkes is a secondary guy, so Wilkes may want, like we did with Emerson last year, and Emerson turned out to be like really super good. I would figure he'd probably find a role for Jair Brown in that system.
No,
but that's even
Shanahan does not trust rookies. You're not going to get burned.
Not going to get burned. They're getting burned.
Oh, they're getting burned, but he's not going to let a rookie go out there and cost us any more than we've already cost ourselves.
But what I was getting back to originally, the free agents I would go after. I mean, not free agents, the trade deadline or whatever signing before that. I would go after more offensive line help because I feel like the 49ers do need that. I'm not saying go out and get another like all pro guy. I mean, if you can, that's great, but
I don't really think there's anybody out there that's really. I don't think anybody's really moving offensive linemen right now. More specifically, right tackles. And at that, good ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, O-line is probably, you may get some depth pieces. You may try to find some depth here, but you're not going to shake the league up by bringing in anybody. You know, there's no splash move on an offensive lineman. You're going to really have to target either a pass rusher or a corner or both. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Wilkes doesn't change, if something doesn't change, and this 49ers defense doesn't look like a more familiar 49ers defense, I don't bring a shit who you bring in here. I don't think it's going to change. I don't think it's going to change.
I also feel like the 49ers
are one of the nastiest front seven in football, and it's just not producing as it should and what it looks like on paper, bro. This is just not working out for me.
I feel like the 49ers also need to do something about the run game because listen, I mean, we brought it up earlier. I don't think CMC.
Talking about stopping the run?
No, I'm talking about actually running the ball, like on offense.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. Once Trent Williams comes back from that ankle, the run game is going to be fine.
I don't necessarily
not
think
a problem.
so. I don't necessarily think so, John.
Nick, CMC just broke a fucking record, dude.
Yeah, I don't care about that record at all.
We've been running the ball, no problem. We have been running the ball, no problem.
No, you haven't. That's what I'm telling you. You can get down the field and CMC can punch it in for you. Any running back can do that. That's not a great metric for me. I'm talking about a guy who can consistently get you about 4 or 5 yards of carry. And that ain't CMC. I'm telling you, it's not. He can do it by if it just comes to him, but he's not a guy that can get you that yardage. Now, I don't know if Jordan Mason can do it. Maybe he can, but you have to figure that out. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying you have to go get somebody, but maybe there's a guy on the team that can do that. Maybe Jordan Mason can do it. But what I am saying is that CMC cannot consistently get you that production. Okay? Use CMC, use him the way you've been using him, but don't use him as a battering ram.
Well, I don't want to use any player as a battering ram, which is why I never wanted to use Debo like that as a wide back. You know, I did not want that. You know, like I wanted to run the ball by committee. I really do. I believe we have serviceable back. We can, with CMC, Mitchell, and Mason, should be able to run the ball down their fucking throat. But
Mason
CMC isn't going to run between the tackles, and Mason struggles to block. He can't block.
Mason has showed some pop. Mitchell has looked like shit since I've seen him this year. Now, he hasn't had a ton of opportunities, so I'm not going to criticize the guy too much.
Oh, yeah,
but he has looked like shit.
Get him going, bro.
Yeah. But you need to fix that. That's something that you need to fix because it's making your offense more one-dimensional because all you guys are doing is pass.
Well, you know what? That's Kyle's fault for limiting this offense to CMC. If CMC and Debo aren't here, the fucking world is over. You have Kittle. You have Kyle Juszczyk. You have Ronnie Bell, who's a rookie, who you won't use because you spitefully will completely go away from the rookies and not give them any burn because they're rookies.
I feel like Ronnie Bell. I feel like Ronnie Bell's the new Danny Gray.
Yeah,
it's like a guy
Danny Gray.
It's like a guy that's talked about, but like it's almost like he's like a creation. like nobody knows he's there. I get it. He played in the Giants game, but like nobody knows he's quite there. He's just a guy that people talk about in the background. Like I heard about Danny Gray all last year, and the guy never played.
I see an identity crisis here in San Francisco at this point. You know, you suddenly were putting up 30 points. Now you're struggling against, you struggle against a good defense in the Browns. I can live with that. But the Vikings, bro? The Vikings? To only be able to put up 17? Moody missed another kick. All right. That dude is, I don't even know what to say about
He made a good kick. He missed the easy one, made the hard one.
Whatever. I still am not confident in this kid come playoff time. I don't know. What's up, Jerry? I see you, bro. JT seems to think that maybe it's a head coach issue on philosophy, and it could be. But I remember when introduced to San Francisco fans, Kyle said that the reason why he liked Wilks was because Wilks was completely open to maintaining the philosophy established here in San Francisco with the defense.
But I think that's more of like, and I talked to you about this earlier before the show. That's kind of like the same thing with Joe Woods and Jim Schwartz. The reason why they picked the reason why they picked Jim Schwartz is because they run a similar like formation. They run similar formation.
They run a 3-4 or a 4-3. What do you guys run?
They run a wide 9. So they run a similar formation, but they don't run. Their defensive discipline isn't the same. Like Jim Schwartz is very, very adamant that the front four get pressure. Like that's the main thing in a Jim Schwartz defense. It wasn't the main thing in a Joe Woods defense. Joe Woods' defense was always secondary related. It was always get as much talent in the secondary. The secondary will hold, and the front four will be able to get there
because the secondary holds because Myles Garrett is a fucking monster.
Yeah, and it was we got Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett will get enough pressure for the whole.
Well, he stirs up the whole pocket, dude.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, you can, if you don't have any other talent on that team and you don't utilize the talent that you do have in a specific way, then your whole defense is shit. Like Joe Woods did have good defenses in Cleveland. He's had good defenses, but they never were defenses that I liked. They never were defenses that I liked because they would always collapse in the worst times. You'd always set yourself up for a late game drive. Which Schwartz's defense, I mean, now granted, the 49ers had a late game drive, and they fairly succeeded with the exception of kicking the field goal. But it wasn't necessarily Schwartz's defense that got that. You know, we had a couple penalties that drive. That happens. But the defense in itself was actually pretty good, even on that drive. I think you guys were in fourth down or 3rd and 10 when we had that penalty on Ayuk. Or was it Ayuk? I forget who the passer, or I forget who the defensive holding penalty was on you guys. But yeah, that was a big play. So there was a couple penalties on that drive.
That's another problem. The penalties, dude. We are of some of the least disciplined teams. We are just creating havoc with penalties right now. Versus Cleveland, I told you it was like 12 penalties for 105 yards. In this game, I think it was. What was it this game? How many penalties?
That I don't know. There was
had to be 7.
There's a lot. There's actually a lot of costly ones. I think you guys had a penalty in the end zone, which gave them a 1-yard touchdown or something like that.
Well, that was kind of some bullshit, but yeah.
I mean, it was a penalty. It wasn't the most egregious penalty in the world, but
I really don't think that it was. They said pass interference. I mean, it was, you can't even breathe on anybody in the fucking end zone anymore. So, you're already, I don't know.
You want to know what the craziest? We'll switch to the Browns here in a second, but you know what the craziest thing about the 49ers is? In every single game they've played this season, Cowboys game might actually be the one where they haven't. That's actually the game they played the best. They've almost had every team they've played had their opposing best player injured or not start the game. I think Deontay Johnson got injured in the Steelers game, if I'm correct. And then you played the Giants without Saquon. Obviously, Arizona doesn't have Kyler Murray. What else? You played the Browns without their quarterback. You played the Vikings without Justin Jefferson. And you played the Rams without Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
I think that's just kind of crazy. It's like you're catching a lot of teams without being 100%. And actually not being 100% without their legitimate best player.
Yeah, but neither are we.
I mean, you guys were pretty healthy up until the Browns game. I think the only guy you guys had out initially was
Greenlaw. Well, that's huge.
It's huge, but teams have injuries. Every team has injuries. It just happens to be the Niners are playing these teams without their best player.
Well, I mean, at this point,
that's kind of a weird fact. Like I thought you guys
Browns. Let's talk Browns. Let's recap your Browns game.
All right. So once again,
AFC is getting shook up.
Once again, took years off my life. but we came out with a victory, and I will take it. I will take being 4-2.
You haven't been
We're
4-2 since.
We're scratching and clawing. I think it's been a minute.
Do you know that we have not won in Minnesota since 1992?
That's kind of odd. I feel like you guys should play Minnesota fairly often. You guys are both NFC teams.
We have not won in Minnesota since 1992. Is that fucking weird or what?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Garbage.
Very weird why Minnesota would be the one place you can't win.
Can't. I don't know. Too many mountains. Too much foliage. I have no idea.
There was a lot of good in the Browns game, and there was a lot of bad in the Browns game. The defense wasn't as potent as it was in terms of limiting yardage, but the defense was also much better at takeaways than it was. I will say this. I never thought the Colts were going to be an easy game. The Colts have been really good this year, especially when Gardner Minshew has been playing. The Colts are 3-3. They were going into last game 3-2, the same as the Browns, same as a lot of teams in the AFC. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see who else they beat. I know they had a close game against the Jags. They lost that by a little bit. They beat the Texans, who've been a pretty good team this year. They narrowly lost against the Rams, and they beat the Titans, who, once again, I feel aren't a terrible team. As everyone likes to say the Titans are a terrible team, I don't think they're terrible. So they've played really well this year. JT, did you? We kind of addressed this on previous shows. Tony had the second kid, and apparently, it's just the show is just too much for him at this point in time. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't be back. Hopefully, he is back because we like having Tony around.
He said Tony has a new show.
Tony broke off on his own.
Does he really? He never said shit. How the hell does he have time? So he never told us about his new show.
Saturday mornings. Apparently Saturday mornings were the thing. I don't know. He did text me this site where, like, apparently you get paid to argue sports. It's not much.
That's called is that what he's talking about?
I think so. He did tell me about that.
Live take. I was on there. It's a pretty sweet platform. We got to give it a try.
Yeah, I got to give it a try.
Hey, I see you, Nick, over there.
But yeah, so what was I talking about just now? Yeah, the Colts. The Colts are a good team. That offensive coordinator for the Colts, that guy's something special. That guy needs to be a head coach. That guy's ridiculous. That being said, it's also our defense didn't play as good, with the exception of one individual. Actually, there were a couple guys that played pretty well. Grant Delpit played pretty well. Denzel Ward had a pretty good game. But that one individual is Sir, and I've officially knighted him. The United Kingdom gave me the honors of knighting him, Sir Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I feel like he's just now starting to get the recognition that he deserves. Myles Garrett is the most dominant player in football. What he brings, I mean, face the fact, the Browns would not have won on Sunday if it was not for Myles Garrett. He accounted for, I believe,
Myles Garrett, he was absolutely electric, bro.
I mean, Myles Garrett accounted for 17 points at least. I mean, he had the strip sack in the end zone. He had another turnover that was close to the end zone. And he also had probably one of the more ridiculous plays I've seen in a long time.
When he jumped over and blocked the punt or blocked the field goal.
I mean, do you know what type of human you have to be able to do what he did?
You have to clear the guy below you without touching him.
Yes. Also, and this is another thing I didn't know. You are not allowed to have a running start. You have to do that from a standing position.
Yeah.
So he basically box jumped the entire line and then was able to jump again and block the kick. It was one of the more ridiculous things I've ever seen. And that's a 85 pound guy at least, probably 300 pounds, that just box jumped an offensive line with guys that are 6'3", 6'4". I mean, and that was kind of a big play in the game. Without that, we don't win. I mean, ridiculous.
I watched that game, bro, and I was in awe. I was watching Garrett. I'm like, this dude is manhandling that entire line.
People are starting to talk about it now, but can we all agree that Myles Garrett's the best defensive lineman in football? Can we say that now?
He's definitely making a very, very strong push for Defensive Player of the Year. He's doing it. He's doing it. I think he has, what does he have, a career high of 85 sacks? Is that it?
And that's not a career high. That's how many sacks he has. He has the most sacks of any person before the age of 28.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, Garrett's nasty. He's absolutely nasty.
I mean, don't kid yourself. I mean, the defensive line is better this year, but every team is going into every game that they play the Browns, and they're like, how do we stop this guy? Yes, we're going to get beat by other guys on that line, but how do we stop this particular guy? And they're still doing the same shit they used to do to him last year, but they can't do it as much.
That's hilarious, Doug.
Yeah,
does he still beat opponents with his helmet?
I hope. Listen, Myles Garrett is the most dominant. He might be the most dominant player at his particular position in football. And it just so happens to be the most important position on the defense.
Yes, Nick. The Browns, that marvelous defense managed to still give up 38.
Well, like I said,
they could not stop Gardner Minshew to save their lives.
Listen, look at. I'm going to give you some scores right now. 31-21. The Jaguars beat the Colts game 1. They still scored 21 points. 31-20. They beat the Texans. 22-19. They beat the Ravens. That's a pretty good defense too. 29-23. They lost to the Rams, but 23 points. And Colts 23-16. That's the game they beat the Titans. They have scored over 20 points every game.
Right?
They're good offense.
But
Gardner Minshew.
Nick, it's what I'm trying to say is like you still gave up 38.
There probably was a little bit of a lax in the Browns' defensive preparation for this game. I hate the fact that there can be, but there usually is. After such a, everyone was talking about the Browns being number one defense and the Browns taking down the mighty 49ers, who everyone said was the number one team in the league. There's probably a little bit of a letdown. They're probably like, the Colts, we just took down the 49ers. So the Colts, we're gonna kick their ass. And the Colts came out and they're like, we're playing the number one defense. We're gonna try and throw everything we got at them. And they did, and they had a lot of success. We still won the game. And a lot of that was because of the defense. You're muted, John.
Say hello to Bashar, Nick.
What's going on, Bash?
Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, Bash.
My man Bashar from the 49er Minded podcast.
Yep.
My man's trying to get monetized. So go over there.
I watch 49er Minded every week. It's one of my main watches. I love seeing Bash on there.
Who's a cool dude and easy to root for?
Ted guy, that Ted guy, I can do it. Nah, I like Ted too. I like hearing Ted. I like hearing Ted.
Is he talking about Garrett?
What's that?
Is Cool Nick talking about Garrett? Cool dude, easy to root for?
Oh, maybe he's talking about Minshew.
Oh, Minshew.
Yeah, Minshew's like a decent player in this league, man. And I'm telling you, That offensive coordinator from the Colts is legit.
That's
that
Cooter.
guy is, what's that?
Cooter.
No, it's not Jim Bob Cooter anymore, John.
Who is it?
Seibert or Seifert or something like that. It's not Jim Bob Cooter.
Not Cooter?
No. It's a young kid. He's like one of those offensive geniuses.
What the hell is his name?
I'll tell you in a second.
I thought it was Cooter.
Shane Steichen. Oh, no. Shane Steichen's the coach. I'm sorry. Cooter's the offensive coordinator. Shane Steichen is that guy is legit. Yeah, that guy's awesome.
I really do like Minshew. I thought he should be a starter somewhere. I really didn't think that he should be sitting behind anybody. I really thought that Minshew should be a starter somewhere. You know what I mean? It's crazy that he's not.
Listen, let's not get crazy. Minshew's mid-level quarterback.
Put up 38. He helped put up 38 on a Browns defense.
He's a guy that could be a fringe starter in the league, basically a backup. He's better than the rookie they had. He's better than, I mean, that rookie needs preparation. But Minshew is a solid player. He can execute a game plan. I would love to have Gardner Minshew right now. But
he's better than Watson, Nick said. He is better than Watson.
Listen, I'm going to get to Watson here because
I'm
a big Watson
hurry
supporter.
Up so we can watch some basketball.
I'm a Watson supporter. I'll get to Watson right now. Listen, he's hurt. If you weren't watching that game and couldn't tell he was hurt, you were out of your mind. Watson is a guy that has a first-class arm, and he couldn't throw the ball. He's hurt. He's just hurt. I don't know how to explain it to you. He's hurt. Now, that being said, it's getting frustrating watching the Browns and always having to wait for Deshaun Watson to be 100%. I mean, it's getting annoying. We traded for him to be somebody, and we haven't gotten to see it because he was rusty last year. He finally had his breakout game against the Titans.
Wow, that really came out.
It looked like it looked like everything was coming together perfectly, defense and offense. And then all of a sudden he has this micro tear in his shoulder and he can't lift his arm up, and we have to wait 3 weeks. And then he finally gets in the game, and it looks like literally I could throw the ball better than him. like literally, my arm has more power than that.
JT says 78 doctors have cleared him. All of Ohio says he's okay.
You can clear somebody, but that doesn't mean that just because they're clear they can go.
Or all of Ohio cleared him and he sucks.
John, he threw the ball in the Titans game, and then you go to how he threw the ball in the Colts game. The last time he threw a ball, it had tremendous zip on it. It was incredibly powerful. And in the Colts game, it's a duck.
I mean,
you can't throw a 10-yard pass.
The way you describe his throws are as if they had insane velocity. They were missiles.
Yeah, they did. He was throwing missiles in the Titans game.
He wasn't.
He was throwing missiles all year. In the Pittsburgh game, it was more the fact that Pittsburgh was just able to rush our offensive line. Our offensive line did not play well, and Watson didn't really get a great chance. Whatever, you have those games. But in the Cincinnati Bengals game, he threw the ball very well. In the Titans game, he threw the ball very well. Colts game, he couldn't throw the ball. But that being said, like, how long are we going to have to wait to get the Watson?
Purdy threw the ball further with no UCL tendon than Watson did with a cleared shoulder.
Yeah, maybe. It was obvious that he couldn't throw the ball. That's why I was like, take him out.
Do you know what?
I
don't know how much more Cleveland needs to see out of this guy before they realize this was just an imminent mistake.
When I'm clamoring for PJ Walker, that means I know something's wrong. Okay. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that a healthy Watson is better than anything we got or anything we can get. A healthy Watson is the best for this team, but I don't know when a healthy Watson's going to get here. I don't know.
It's right now. It's probably the worst trade in history.
It's not the worst trade in history, John. The Russell Wilson trade was definitely worse than the Deshaun Watson trade.
No, I'm pretty sure that the Watson trade probably has like implications. Remember the discussion we had about that fucking plethora of picks and 5 players or something that you remember that the Herschel Walker trade?
Yeah.
We're right up there with that. When you compare the Herschel Walker trade and the Watson trade, they're right up there in like.
I think the Trey Lance trade's worse than the Deshaun Watson trade.
Why? We won in spite of those picks.
Yeah, we're winning in spite of those, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a terrible trade.
You could have your opinion. You can have your opinion about taking Trey Lance, and you can look that
we traded for a guy that has a history of success and is also young.
Thanks for rocking with us, brother. We love you, man.
And is also young. He's still pretty young. Like for a quarterback, he's still really young. Like people don't realize that. People, for some reason, I think people think Deshaun Watson's like 33 years old. He's like 27. Like he's still very young. Like, and
you got like, zero production out of him through 7 weeks.
Even say they had to shelf him for the year, he could still come back next year and be really good. Like that's still in the cards for him. The Russell Wilson trade, Russ ain't getting any better. Russ is
100 years old in QB years, bro. He's done.
Yeah, that's why
Russ already won a Super Bowl. What the fuck?
Worse.
I can't stand Russell Wilson, Nick. But don't sit here and compare Russell's career to Watson.
I'm not comparing his career. I'm comparing the trade.
One is a Hall of Famer, and the other is
maybe a Hall of Famer. I don't know.
Okay, maybe not. But the Watson trade has proven to be a great deal of shit.
But you can't grade that trade until it's completion.
I mean, like how much what do you want me to grade?
Like the Trey Lance trade, that's in its completion. It's done. That we've already seen the fruits of that labor, and it wasn't good.
Okay.
The Russell Wilson trade, it's not going to get better for us. It's just going to get worse. It's not all of a sudden going to get like 3 points off his 40 and start being able to run the ball like crazy like he used to. Russ's trade's done. Like he's getting a shit ton of money. You gave a ton of picks away. Also, you can even compound that by the fact that they were like, well, if we just get Sean Payton, everything's going to be dandy and Russ is going to be great again. No, the Sean Payton trade also cost you picks, and you had to pay Sean Payton a bunch of money.
Sean Payton didn't. Well, I don't think Sean Payton ever was a Russell fan. So, he sat there and he called out Russ in public for booty clapping, for whatever the hell he was doing, apologizing and all this other shit, and he said, cut the shit. Mm-hmm. Russ is corny, dude. The comparison between Russell's career and Deshaun Watson's career.
It's not a comparison. I never compared the careers. I'm comparing the trades. Like a lot of people are saying this is the worst trade in history. I will give people that as of right now, it hasn't been good. But first of all, you knew the first year wasn't going to be good. You knew kind of, at the very least in the middle of that season, that the Browns probably aren't making the playoffs.
I saw him come back at the end of the season.
This
was
the season we were hoping for.
Not the end. He came back in December last year. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. He was dog shit. And you kept saying
that's not necessarily true.
John, he's got to knock the rust off, John. He needs a full off season with this squad, John. So here we are.
Dog shit one particular game. He was very rusty in the other games. He had actually a really good game in that 6-game period. He had a good game against the Washington Commanders.
You know what I feel like? You know what I feel like you're doing? I almost feel like you are me arguing that Trey Lance had good games.
But Trey Lance never had a good game.
I thought he did.
No, he didn't.
I thought Trey Lance had a decent game.
He had one mega game, and
I like the Houston
he didn't
game.
have a lot of games.
I like the Houston game. That's not the point. My point is this. You keep arguing to me that Deshaun Watson is a good quarterback, yet he hasn't done fucking shit yet.
Actually, that's not even what I'm arguing right now. I'm actually arguing the opposite. Like, I'm starting to get frustrated with having to wait for this dude. Like, I'm almost at the point right now. If this dude can't, you got to figure out if this dude's going to be able to throw. If this dude can't throw, then you got to get a contingency plan. Like, our offense doesn't need to be great. Our offense just needs to be okay. Our offense just needs to be an offense that doesn't turn the ball over and is able to move the ball down the field. We don't have to score 100 points.
Go get Colt McCoy. He's sitting on the couch. Go get your boy. Go get your boy, Jacoby Brissett. He's sitting on the couch.
No, Jacoby Brissett's playing for the Washington Commanders, and he might actually be starting this week.
That's right. He is a Commander. Okay,
he might actually be starting this week.
There's still plenty of, but there's still some veterans.
But I'm also not sure how good Jacoby Brissett's going to be, because last year he was very good. There was also the fact that he had Nick Chubb too, and we had a rushing attack that was super consistent. Not this
Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt have been very serviceable. I don't know why you're complaining about Nick Chubb.
I like Kareem Hunt. They're not even close to Nick Chubb, John. Nick Chubb is in a league of his own.
Nick, I'm not trying to replace him. I'm just telling you.
What I'm saying is Jacoby Brissett
are serviceable running backs.
What I'm saying is Jacoby Brissett had Nick Chubb last year, and he didn't have a running game that was serviceable. He had a running game that was fantastic, spectacular. So
this is so good, by Nick.
Yeah. So basically, he doesn't have that. I don't know how good Nick Chubbless Jacoby Brissett's going to be. I mean, Jacoby Brissett played well last year. I will always have a small part of my heart for Jacoby Brissett. And if the Browns happen to trade for him, I'll be happy, because I like Jacoby Brissett. I
don't think the Browns are going to trade any compensation to bring back Brissett. I really don't think they're going to change their offense to fit Jacoby Brissett, and he really doesn't fit this offense.
Now, here's another thing. PJ Walker.
No.
He's a very frustrating individual.
Not PJ Walker at all. Colt McCoy.
He's a very frustrating individual. But I don't think he's been put in a lot of good circumstances. And if he could just limit his screw-ups. He actually has a decent amount of talent. He actually throws a great ball. And he's proven that in the last 2 weeks. He's had great balls to Cooper. He threw a fucking dime in a clutch situation last week to Elijah Moore. Like, I mean, that was a pro football top tier level throw to fit it in that little window where only Elijah Moore can get it. Like, he gives you glimpses. He gives you like Trey Lance shit. Where you'd have that one pass where you
right now,
you can just do that all the time.
Right now, you're under a disco ball booty clapping for PJ Walker. Do you know that?
But
do you hear yourself?
I don't know if bringing Brissett's going to be better, and I don't think Colt McCoy is going to be better, John. Colt McCoy doesn't have a strong arm. That's always been Colt McCoy's.
Colt McCoy has a solid arm. He's definitely going to keep the Browns in contention. Listen, bro, PJ Walker is not the answer. All right, roll with the rookie. Get DTR and roll with DTR.
I'd be willing to roll with the rookie. I'm not cutting down on DTR because he had a bad game when he was basically told like 30 minutes prior, hey, you know what, you're going to start today against a really good defense. I'm not sold out on him. I think he's probably going to be good with some decent preparation. And they also need to tell him, don't do anything freaking stupid. We got a good defense. Don't blow it. Throw it when you think you're 100% certain that it's going to be it's going to be completion.
I can't sit here and listen to you celebrate one throw that an NFL quarterback made.
John Walker has made a couple of throws. I mean, granted, it was a great catch, but do you remember that mossing of the San Francisco 49ers defense? He threw it in a place that only Cooper could catch it.
No.
Like, that was a big time play in that game.
It was just a good throw.
Yeah, it was a good throw. That's what I'm telling you.
I mean, right now, dude. I mean,
but then he does things like the shovel pass, or he does things like throwing it in the end zone against the Niners. Thank God that wasn't an interception, because that would have been the end of the game. Then he does things like that where thank God it was after he made that amazing throw to Elijah Moore. Thank God there was a penalty against the players. Otherwise, it would have been a fumble.
So the refs basically bailed out PJ Walker, and
listen, I don't know if they bailed out PJ Walker.
You're making it rain on this guy because
let's look at it.
He made you happy.
Let's look at this honestly. On that play that PJ Walker did fumble, Amari Cooper was held. He was held. I'm sorry, he was held. That's a penalty. Don't hold him if you don't want the penalty being thrown. That's a penalty. The more egregious one is the interception in the end zone, but that wasn't the most consequential one. That wasn't the most consequential play. That was like literally the next play. That wasn't the most consequential interference. We still have a chance to score a touchdown after that. Okay? So, but also, don't hold our receivers. Get your paws off our receivers. You're not allowed to put your paws on our receivers after 5 yards. That's the rule. Don't grab our receivers. You don't want penalties being called on you. Don't grab our receivers. Okay? I agree with you.
Crying about that.
What's that?
You're still crying about that.
I'm crying about it. We won the game. Colts are crying.
Move on.
I have moved on. I said at the start of this, we're 4-2. I'll take it.
When was the last time you were 4-2?
Shit, I want to say the last time we were 4-2, it was
like 2010.
It might have been when actually Shanny was our offensive coordinator.
Imagine that.
we went downhill like shortly after that, but I want to say it might have been like 2015 or something like that.
Really?
I think so. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well, you want to call it? Call it a night?
Yeah, call it a night.
All right. Yo, everybody, thank you for rocking out with Nick and I tonight. You guys were awesome as usual. If it wasn't for you guys, I don't think Nick and I would even bother doing this, even think about doing this.
We feel a responsibility to the chat.
we appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. Listen, Tuesdays, 9 p.m.
Don't hold
right here on YouTube. Yeah, don't hold us to it. Well, you know what? Hold it to me. I'll still have the show. I'll find a guest.
We'll be every week. We will do a locker room rant show, mostly on Tuesdays.
Regardless, it's been real. It's been fun. But with anything that deals with Nick, it hasn't really been that fun for me. So listen, later, family. Peace.